Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 4. I am Alia Maisara binti Muhamad Nazri.
My name is Siti Husniyah binti Ahmad Sallahuddin.
And my name is Iynsheera binti Azamin.
And my name is Najwa Syazwani binti Shafizan.
Okay, so firstly, the problem scenario is Ahmad Abu is an employee at Shafinas Berhad, but then he forgot to pay his tax to Inland Revenue Board IRB. He also gave wrong information about his income and overstayed the tax relief to avoid paying more tax. He did not know that he had done some offences which he can be given penalties. So he must understand his obligations as a taxpayer, including the need to be honest while filing his income tax and receiving any relief, as well as the offences, fines and penalties.
Now I'm going to explain about the voluntary disclosure. So, so what is voluntary disclosure? Voluntary disclosure is a process of disclosed information that were not declared where the information given by the taxpayer is relevant. The taxpayer will come voluntarily to pay its tax charge in the form to reduce penalties and limitations. So, what is the advantages of voluntary disclosure? The first one is it will raise the country's development because when the taxpayer comes to pay their taxes, even though it's not in a fully tax charges like what they have to pay, the country will still get the income, and so it will benefit the country. The second one is the taxpayer will get to disclose their past income for the year assessment or the year before with reduced penalty rate. So, for example, Malaysia held SVDP, which is Special Voluntary Disclosure Program, where it is basically open the doors for the taxpayer. They will come and declare themselves, and this program actually is not new. It has been implemented in many countries. So, and the most success history of this program is in Indonesia, where Indonesia can collect 360 billion USD, while our country not targeted high, so we only get 10 million USD only. It is also recommended because it allows taxpayers to manage their tax and declare their income in the past. And then if the taxpayer has been reported wrong in the past, they should come and declare themselves. If the taxpayer income derived from the overseas and they already pay for the overseas tax, they did not have to worry as they only need to give documents and to declare their income. So, and now I'm going to tell you 3 ways to submit SVDP. Firstly, taxpayers who are not registered with IRBM, they need to register and submit tax return form. Next, taxpayers who are registered with IRBM but not submitted tax return form for any year assessment, they need to submit tax return form. And lastly, taxpayers who have submitted but did not report correct information, they need to make declaration in email or writing, but it is also recommended in a writing form. So, and that's all from me.
Okay, so what will happen if we not filing our taxes? Few things are less exciting than doing your taxes. But if you earn more than 34,000 ringgit a year after deduction, you have to file your taxes. You should get this sorted out before the deadline comes around. If you forget to do so, you could face fines, penalties, and even imprisonment. Here's what you need to know. So what will happen if you are failed to fulfill our taxes? We can be charged due to failure to furnish a return for the year assessment, section 77 subsection 1 and section 77A subsection 1, and failure to furnish return for year assessment more than 2 years and above. So the penalty without prosecution is we need to pay 3 times of tax payable according to section 112 subsection 3. Meanwhile, the penalty that will be given with prosecution are firstly, the fine is more than 200 ringgit and less than 20,000 ringgit, or we will be imprisoned for less than 6 months, or we will get both under section 112 subsection 1. And if we fail to furnish a return for more than 2-year assessment, we will get charged with fine which more than 1,000 ringgit but less than 20,000 ringgit, or we will be imprisoned for less than 6 months or both, and we need to pay 3 times of tax payable.
Next, taxpayer underreport or misreport income. It is a term describing reporting less income or revenue than was actually received. It is because they want to avoid or reduce their respective tax liabilities. Under Section 113, if the taxpayer claims lesser income than actual figure, they will be punished of 1,000 ringgit to 10,000 ringgit. They also will be required to pay 200% of the undercharged tax amount. Next slide. The causes of misreporting income tax is fail to record the investment in books of account, not substantiated by evidence, then failing to record any receipt in the book of account having a bearing on the total income, or they record any false entry in books of account and fail to report any international transaction. For example, Ali works at SMK Batu Lima as a school clerk. Since the data is in the hands of the Revenue Board, he cannot cheat on the salary he received to reduce his income tax. However, Ali also rent out of his houses and failed to report the rental income on his tax and be fined or penalized for this action. That's why we need to keep record our additional income, especially when we have income, so that we will not be fined.
Now, I would like to begin by explaining the tax reliefs. So first, tax reliefs are made so that the taxpayer can lighten their burden in financial by deducting a particular amount from their total annual income for money spent in the assessment year and decrease their taxes. They can save a lot of money on taxes by planning and filing their tax relief. But they have to be careful to never overstate their tax reliefs only to receive a lower tax bill. So under section 113 subsection 1 of the Act provides that any person who makes an incorrect return by omitting or understating any income to make a return to himself or any other person, or B, gives any incorrect information in relation to any matter affecting his chargeability to tax or the chargeability to tax of any person, they can be fined between 1,000 ringgit to 10,000 ringgit and special penalty of double the amount of tax which had been undercharged but there is no imprisonment. Taxpayers have to make sure they have vouchers, receipts, or any other documents that can be used as proof when declaring the tax relief and to maintain them for at least 7 years. They can be fined between 300 ringgit to 1,000 ringgit or imprisonment less than 1 year or both if they fail to back up their claims with the necessary documentation because it is an offence that falls under Section 119A, which is failure to keep records and give receipts. That's all from me. Thank you.